Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock on traditional land of the Matinecock people. I'm Reverend Jaye Brooks, a member of the ministry team here, along with Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, and soon joining us, Reverend David Carl Olson. Here's the idea we're exploring today. Life is full of stumbles and misdirections. It's full of tragedy and loss. How can we gather all accidents into our purpose? In our Unitarian Universalist faith tradition, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We recognize that each of us is on a lifelong journey searching for truth and meaning. It may be a very individual journey, for our tradition welcomes people with diverse beliefs into one body of shared values. So it's a journey that's unique for each person, and yet is carried out in community. We companion one another. And so together we seek to create loving religious community, encourage spiritual growth, and build a more just and joyful world. Each Sunday we gather as a community, on-site and online, to consider together, in the earliest meaning of the Old English word worship, ideas that are worthy, ideas that help us to find meaning and purpose. In today's service, Worship Associate Winterflower Regla Robinson joins us by video from her home in Hampton, Virginia. Soloist Michael St. Peter lifts up his voice and lifts us up with song. And Matthew Ricketts at the piano begins this worship service with music to help us center ourselves in the spirit of life. Our opening words are by poet Jared K. Anderson, his poem Cartographer, from his recently published book, Notes from the Hollow Tree. When we are born, we arrive on the shores of a wilderness, our minds. We search for shelter. We tumble into ravines. We taste the berries that nourish and the ones that leave us delirious in the mud. All our lives, we struggle to find footing in the forests of ourselves. There are strange hills inside our thoughts. Slowly, through messy effort, we become native to these inner landscapes. Don't be ashamed of your stumbles, your scars, your sleepless nights. You are here, wild and whole, learning to map the clouds.
Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage. We do this for our ancestors who taught us through the diverse religious traditions and by our actions for justice and hope. We do this for our children who are learning the traditions we teach and learn more from our actions than our words. We do this for ourselves so that we are inspired to remember our beginnings, reflect on who we are now, and spread our wings as we understand who we seek to become.
And now please rise in body or spirit as you are comfortable for the words of affirmation, which are on the screen. And then we'll sing the song of affirmation, and please do remember to wear a mask when you sing. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of faith and hope arise. Let peace, goodwill, honor be sung through every land, by every tongue.
To serve human need. Each Sunday, we take a special collection to support a nonprofit that expressively serves human need. During July and August, contributions supporting school supplies for local children whose family cannot afford to buy them what they need. Each summer, Shelter Rock members and families help provide school supplies for the children in need in the village of Hempstead. The supplies are distributed in late August by Reverend Benjamin of the ABA Leadership Center. Members of the Social Justice Committee will use the funds from our Sunday collections to purchase the supplies and deliver them to Reverend Benjamin in time for distribution. Make a contribution on our website, or if you are on site, the donation box is to your right as you leave the sanctuary. In these days where compassion fatigue is a real thing, let this congregation be a wellspring of empathy that pours forth generosity like an ever-flowing stream.
Sing a song about hope. I'm not inspired much right now, but even so, I came out here to sing a song, so here I go. I guess I think that if I tinker long enough, one might appear. Oh look, it's here. One verse is done, the work's begun. I come to sing a song about hope. In spite of everything ridiculous and sad, though I'm beyond belief depressed, confused and mad, well, I got dressed. I underestimated how much that would take. I didn't break until right now. I sing of hope and don't know how. So maybe I can substitute strength, because I'm strong enough. I've been through lots of things I didn't think I could, and so did you. I know that's true. And so we sing a song about hope, though I can't guarantee there's something real behind it. I have to try to show my loved ones I can find it. And so today, when life is crazy and impossible to bear, it must be there. Fear never wins. That's what I hope. Look, I said hope. The work begins.
Let's take a moment now for silence, reflection, or prayer as we hold in our hearts our own needs, the needs of our beloveds, and the needs of the world. May the weight of these needs not discourage us, but in this shared moment of silent compassion, may all burdens be lighter, and each of us more resilient. Let us enter into silence. Maybe it's taken a long time turning around, falling down, and getting up again. So many stumbles, misdirections. It's a wonder to be here and not somewhere else. But the thing about growth is, it's possible, and it doesn't reverse itself. Just look at the grass. We walk on it, we flatten it, but grass is resilient. It doesn't stay flattened. It doesn't shrink back into the ground. And has anyone ever seen a blossom fold back into a bud? Life is going forward, yes? Without knowing what's around the corner. Life is faith, and each time we fall, life whispers, rise up. Now let's sing together hymn number 1037, Begin Again in Love, which we'll sing with the vocal leadership of Michael St. Peter. And I will say the words, the narration, written by the late Rob Eller Isaacs, a marvelous UU minister and a friend and colleague. Please sing the response along with Michael, rising in body or spirit as you are comfortable. This song reminds us that in every life there are stumbles and misdirections, times when we're wronged and times when we are in the wrong. As we sing, may we allow ourselves a moment of vulnerability when, as the song guides us, we recognize that being human means making mistakes, learning from them, and rising up to begin again in love. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
Amen, and may it be so.
In the place that is my own place, whose earth I am shaped in and must bear, there is an old tree growing, a great sycamore that is a wondrous healer of itself. Fences have been tied to it, nails driven into it, hacks and whittle cut in it. The lightning has burned it. There is no year it has flourished in that has not harmed it. There is a hollow in it that is its death. Through living brims whitely at the lips of darkness and flows outward. Over all its scars has come the seamless white of the bark. It bears the gnaw of its history healed over. It has risen to a strange perfection in the warped and the bending of its long growth. It has gathered all accidents into purpose. It has become of the intention and radiance of its dark fate. It is a fact, sublime, mystical, unassailable. In all the country, there is no other like it. I recognize it a principle, an indwelling the same as itself, and greater than I will be ruled by. I see that it stands in its place, and it feeds upon it, and it is fed upon it, and it is native and maker.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk
You'll never walk alone. That's the promise of religious community. No matter how turbulent the storm, no matter how frequently storms sweep through our lives, the power of the religious community, of loving religious community, its companionship, its shared strength, is there when we need it. Over the last few stunningly difficult years, this community here at Shelter Rock has supported our resilience and courage. But I would like to register just one teeny little complaint. I'm getting tired of practicing resilience. Can I get an amen? Or just raise your hand. Yes. These days it does seem as if there are too many storms to count. I won't attempt to list them all. That would take a very long time. It would be at least a little depressing. And besides, each of you has your own list, and you know it all too well. Instead, I'll tell you about Rosie, a rescue dog who blessed our family a few years ago. Rosie had suffered terrible abuse at the hands of her original family. When they turned her over to the animal shelter, she was so traumatized that the volunteer who was an expert in socializing dogs who had been mistreated had to work with her for 7 months. When I heard Rosie's story, I wept. There was no question. Rosie was coming home. The volunteers sat with us to explain some of Rosie's likely behaviors. Rosie herself curled up in her crate, shivering under her pink security blanket. One thing we should not expect was for Rosie ever to allow us to touch her head, because instead of ear scratches, Rosie expected blows. How sad is that? But something different happened. My son Kevin, who was then about 17, seemed to form an immediate bond with Rosie. And Kevin liked to stretch out on his TV-watching couch with his very long dreads hanging over the end of the couch like a bead curtain. Rosie found the hollow between the couch and the hair. She dragged her pink security blanket over to that little space and curled up there under the shelter of my son's long dreads. 2 days later, Kevin said, "Mom, look at this." Rosie was sitting next to him, beside rather than under his hair, and she was allowing Kevin to scratch her ears. I like to think that I have done more than one good thing in my life, but if there is only one thing, bringing Rosie home is it. Starting from the safety of that hollow under the hair, Rosie gradually became the dog she was always meant to be. Resilience. Resilience is grounded in the presence of people who care. We need one another. Individually, a human being may suffer like the sycamore tree, battered by storms and circumstance, so that there is no year it has flourished that has not harmed it. Nails, cuts, lightning, a hollow that is its death. In my life in ministry, I've known many human beings who have suffered beyond description, and yet through relationships of love and the companionship of community, have emerged as survivors who, like the sycamore, nourish life within the hollow of their loss. The gnarls of their history healed over, they have gathered all accidents into their purpose. I could tell you stories of these human sycamores. Even now, their faces appear to my mind's eye, and their voices murmur in my ear. But they aren't my stories to tell. And anyway, you don't need their stories. You have your own. Every one of you has your own stories of loss and pain and suffering. So what does the poet Wendell Berry mean when he says that the sycamore gathers all accidents into its purpose? That line riveted my attention when I first read the poem, because that is exactly what human beings do to survive and go on to thrive. They take the pain and loss and trauma and make a promise to the world. I won't let this happen to anyone else, not if I can help it. And they recognize and go on to say in their heart and their life, if I cannot stop it, I can at least stand with those others, companion them, listen to them, and offer them my empathy. These are the real heroes of our time, the people who, like the Sycamore, have faced storms and been struck by life's lightning, who, as their wounds become scars, root themselves solidly and become shelter for others. The truth of resilience is that it is not a solo act. Caring relationships heal. Caring communities heal. Love is a real remedy for a heart-stricken spirit. In a Unitarian Universalist religious community, we have the ethical foundation to heal one another, to grow resilience in one another. To be a resilient, heart-healing community, we must live from our values. To do that, each of us must resist an unspoken perfectionism. Does that sound a bit weird? There's a kind of perfectionism that expects the best of others without self-examination. And I believe we are all susceptible to it. In this perfectionism, there's no room for others to make a mistake, to disagree, to be an obstacle to a desired outcome, or even to be a slight inconvenience on the path to the perfectionist's holy grail. So let's not be like that. Let's not. Let's just say no. Wouldn't it be healing if we could all be sycamores who shelter the most grievously wounded in hair hollows, who make space freely for birds to sing in their branches, who offer shade and rest to all who come near. This is how we gather those accidents into our purpose. We take the storms and loss and human error and turn the pain into sympathy, into empathy, into compassion. We make ourselves strong for others who need us. We acknowledge our own mistakes and begin again in love. We treat one another as companions on this life journey, bound together by conviction and covenant, all subject to great storms, and all capable of courage and great love. And now let's sing together hymn number 1015, I Know I Can, I Know I Can. Please remember to wear your mask as you sing. Rise in body or spirit as you're comfortable.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. When sorrow heals my soul and burdens make me strong, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on, and though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So, brothers, take my hand, and sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on.
Please be seated. As we sang that song, I realized that it uses the terms brother and sister, and I hope that everyone in this inclusive and diverse community understands that we are talking about siblings, whatever their gender may be. In a moment, I'll extinguish our chalice. Our closing words, again by Jared K. Anderson from his Love Notes from a Hollow Tree, are the poem Let's. Let's be exhausted together. Let's laugh about it. Let's clasp each other like two strangers who just saw a horror pass by. Let's ugly cry over the sink. Let's eat the baking chocolate. Let's meet up without a plan. Let's love what is broken. Let's be beautiful in defeat and reckless with trust. Let's be stubbornly soft. Let's be human. Amen, and blessed be.